This video deals with how advisors quote advisor charges to their clients. This is undertaken in the advisor part of Charge Manager, and advisors will be working with the charging structure which has been established by the practice manager and the business owner. Advisors can't edit that charging structure, but they can work within it, and that of course provides the business with consistency. To construct a new quote is very straightforward. First of all, we take the client's name, and in this particular case we're going to quote for Laura Smith. We need to pick up whether the advice is independent or restricted, because that needs to be reported to the FSA on Form K, which is dealt with in another part of the software. We also need to check the box about intermediation, because if we are VAT registered and the advice is intermediated, then there is no VAT to be charged. But if we are registered, and of course there is no intermediation, then VAT must be charged. This client is investing £200,000, and so we just key that into the new amount box. We'll come to previous sums and current valuations further on. This screen is an important screen for advisors because it helps them prepare for meetings. What we have on the left hand side of the screen is the charging structure that the business owner has established. We can see here on the left hand side we're charging percentages of monies invested for new investments. On the first £100,000 we can charge between 4 and 5, on the next 100 between 3 and 4, and so on. So the advisor has discretion. On the right hand side here, our first £250,000 for ongoing service charge is charged at 0.75, the next 250 at 0.5, and so on. So there's no discretion within these bands. If we come across to the right hand side, we get a summary of how much the client will need to pay for this advice. We get a summary of the advisor, the advice type, and we cover the VAT here, the client details and the amount invested, £200,000. Charge Manager will always default to the centre of the bands where there is discretion. So it picks up the £100,000 band and the £100,000 to £200,000, and it gives us an initial charge for the first part of the work of £8,000 and a composite percentage of 4%. The ongoing service charge for £200,000 comes into this band, and it's shown at 0.75. The advisor can produce as many quotes as they wish, and Charge Manager will store these so you always have an audit trail of what you've done for individual clients. In terms of preparing for meetings, clients will obviously, or advisors rather, will think particularly about the amount of work that's likely to be involved, and how they want to deal with this with regard to charging. If the work is very straightforward, they may want to drop to the bottom of the band to reflect this, and you'll see that the charge has dropped to £7,000, or a composite of 3.5. Alternatively, if the work is complex, then the advisor may wish to move to the top of the band, and you'll see that the charge has gone up to £9,000, or 4.5%. So where advisors have discretion, the important thing is that they think about this before meeting the client, so they know exactly what they can do within the bounds of the charging structure. So let's preview this in terms of a quote. And remember that the FSA require us to demonstrate to clients how much they're going to pay us and how we arrive at those charges. So on this quote here, we have the client and the advisor details at the top and the amount to be invested. We have the charges for new advice broken down on the total, and the same for ongoing service, plus the reference for VAT which isn't charged here because of intermediation. There is a charges summary at the bottom. Now, we can edit and revise this quote, as I said a moment ago, as many times as we wish. And it may be that Laura Smith, in addition to the investment, wants us to undertake some complex tax planning, which I'll charge here at the middle of the band, and she may also request us to provide an additional valuation. And again, we'll take the amount in the middle of the band here. And if we come back to the preview, we can see then, again we'll just make this slightly smaller so that we can see what's going on. We will see that these additional charges have been picked up on the quote and added into the totals. So quoting for clients is very straightforward, and the software will allow you to deal with clients who have monies already invested with you, and it will also take account of current values. So if, for example, Laura Smith already had £100,000 invested with us, and that 100,000 had grown to 120,000, then clearly that has a bearing upon how we're likely to implement our charges. If we come to the preview, this is the most straightforward way to see what's going on here. Let's deal first of all with the charges for new advice. And what a majority of firms will do is to charge existing clients at the increment. So if they already have monies invested with us, we'll charge them at the next bands. So in this instance, the client had 100,000 with us, they're now adding a further 200. So we charge the 200 as if we were going from 100,000 to 300,000. If you don't want to use this policy, or there are circumstances where you need to charge this new investment at your initial charging rates, then you can override this. But on the quote here we can see that there are no charges in band 1, and our charges actually start where our charges are lower in band 2 and band 3. So that's an important point that we can bring home to the client, because clearly what we're effectively doing is giving them a loyalty discount. But in terms of ongoing service, of course, if it's a percentage of monies invested charging structure, we need to charge on the value of the monies that we are looking after. In this instance, it's 320,000. It's the current value that the client has, 120, plus the 200 that's now being invested. So 320,000 here is implemented for the ongoing service. And again, it's shown here as a total, and remember, she'd also asked us to provide an additional valuation, which is the £100 here. So the charging structures are able to provide quotes for brand new clients with very straightforward circumstances. They're also able to provide quotes for clients where we're simply undertaking planning work, and we are needing to charge VAT if we're a VAT registered business. And they also enable us to deal with the circumstances of existing clients bringing new monies to us.